How do you feel?
Well, I feel good,
Yeah?
but also kind of on guard and curious at the same time.
Yeah?
Yeah, I want it to be very relaxed about it, but I can already feel there's a little, performance anxiety.
No.
Cheers.
Cheers. Hey, you're drinking in a cup that I stole in Belgium.
Saint Jerry.
Yeah, that's like a bar that I went to.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes when I travel, I'm just like, oh, let's just take it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, never gonna set foot there again.
I like it when I find out someone's stolen something before, like something small. It lets you know that they might be a good person, they may have morals, but like if they have that little once in a while do something bad, it lets you know that they, aren't a perfectionist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would not do that here, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, if I want to go back to that place, that would be weird. But
So less accountability for that community. Rather
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not the only glass I stole there. I mean, I stole two like this and another one. But actually, I don't know where the other one is. I think I broke it. When I was drunk, probably, because I don't really remember it.
You just haven't seen it in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't know when I saw it the last time.
So tell me about all the times that you've stolen things.
Oh my God. Not very often.
Okay.
Because the first thing I remember stealing was like a little ball at Dolorama, the dollar store.
Yeah.
When I was a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mine was a radish. It was
really?
bright and red. I had no idea what a radish was. I was about 3 years old.
Oh my God.
And I wanted to brag
At the
to my
grocery
friends.
store?
Yeah. I just kind of took it, pocketed it, and then told my friends about it because that was the important part. And then I took a bite of it, and it was the most disgusting thing I'd ever eaten. It was so bitter and raw, and I think it burned my mouth like it was heat. I don't know. It was stupid. So I didn't steal again for a very long time.
Who's proud of stealing a radish? Like that's so lame to be like, hey, look, friends, I stole something, and everybody's like expecting like something expensive or something, and you're like, a radish.
You're like a Colorama store.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, mine is not better than that, but
Yeah.
I'd rather I'd rather not steal actually. I mean, the worst thing I did in a store was changing a price tag,
Yeah.
and then I got caught, and they took me to like the police officer and stuff, and they asked me about like my tattoos and everything, and they filled like a thing, so they would send me to court, and I would have like I would have a record and everything. I was 20 years old, and I was crying, and I was like, I don't want to, like, and the police officer just is like, okay, you're young, that's okay, you're not gonna go to court. Like they just wanted to scare me basically. Yeah. But the worst thing is, I did not even do it for me. Like, it wasn't even something I was buying.
Yeah.
It was for a friend.
Yeah.
Who was like taking so long to choose between two bags, and one was just prettier and more expensive,
yeah,
and the other one was just like basic black but cheaper. So it was like, okay, like you've been looking at them for like half an hour, so like let's just take the cheap price and put it on the expensive bag, and there you go, you're happy. And then I was the one doing it, so they caught me on camera, and then everything happened after that.
I was I think the last time I was around 17. I don't know. I was playing a collector card game called Magic the Gathering. It was like,
oh yeah, I know what it is.
So we were in a card store, and I could never afford any of these things, but I would flip through the books, and my friend was going to buy things. I think I was going to buy one $5 card, and the store owner left to go talk to somebody, and I guess he left someone behind to watch, but I wasn't aware. I just took it in my stupid kid mind as a like once in a lifetime lottery to just grab whatever I wanted and shove it in my pants or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the guy who was on watch ratted me out, of course, because he was supposed to. And then they dragged me out and they gave me a good talking to. It did scare the hell out of me. I ended up buying, I had all of my money that I wasn't going to spend. I did spend as an apology. And it was just, that was when it was recorded in my brain that stealing can be embarrassing. And that was the consequence I was most afraid of.
Huh, interesting. Yeah. Are you a lot afraid of being embarrassed, or?
There is a shame factor that in some circumstances, it's hardwired into me. In other circumstances, I can be the most like shameless person.
Like, what kind of circumstances? Circumstances. That's a very hard word to say.
Circumstance?
Circumstances.
What circumstances? Yeah.
There's like so many like.
I can't do the R's in French. The one thing I can remember that I wish I could unwrite if I had a deep psychology lesson.
Yeah.
When I was 7, or no, somewhere below the age of 10, I used to be a big fan of WrestleMania, or the World Wrestling Entertainment or Federation, or whatever it was. Yeah. And my stepfather surprised me and my stepbrother with tickets to a show. It had come to Halifax. And I was so pumped. Like when you go to concerts and you see people like arms in the air, like, that was me as a kid, right?
Yeah.
My stepfather has a very subdued, shame-filled personality. So when I jumped up at one point when like Hulk Hogan came out and I was like waving my sweater around above my head, like screaming, he grabbed me by the scruff of the neck and slammed me in my chair and told me to sit still.
Holy
and then
shit.
Pointed to the people around us and said, you're ruining the time for them or whatever. And I just, from that point on, I clamped up in public behavior when it came to public events.
Wow.
It made me unable to sync with the mob mentality. So I've been permanently cut off from mob mentality because of that moment.
That's kind of sad.
It kind of is, but it gives me a perspective.
Do you still have him in your life?
He's still with my mother.
Yeah.
But I don't, maybe once a year I see him.
So.
Do you want to get that?
That's not me. What's that?
That's not me.
That's my neighbor?
You've never heard that before?
What the hell? What is it? Okay, wait. I'll cut it on the...
Okay.
What the hell?
Old school phone.
That's clearly not me. That's my speaker.
Yeah? Because your phone was connected to it?
Yeah. That's why I've never heard that before. Like, I don't have a normal, like, ringtone. I don't know. Like, that's... And sometimes my walls are so thin that I can hear like my neighbor's answering machine. I can hear every word on it. Like I can actually listen to what people tell him in the messages. So I was like, oh, maybe that's his phone. And it's like the wall is so thin I can hear it, but it was so loud. I'm like, no, that's not it. And then it's my fault. You see? Okay. Let's just get back.
After these messages.
Get back to work. Sorry about that.
No problem. I don't feel any problem with it.
Yeah, I mean, what were you saying? You were talking about your stepdad. Oh,
yeah, when he chastised me and corrected my behavior when I was really young. He hardwired me to separate from the mob mentality.
So since then, you haven't been really close to him, I assume?
Yeah, me and my sister have both taken very distant stances from him. He didn't do really well communicating with kids. When it came to me as an adult, we can have the usual, hey, how are you? How's the weather? Talk a little bit. But I have no desire to get emotionally close to him.
And are you close to your mom or?
Emotionally, I think yes. Conversationally, we rarely speak. It's, this is getting into some deep stuff,
That's okay. I mean, if you want to, you don't have to.
No, I don't mind. I just don't know if it makes funny content or anything. But it's deep emotional.
It can be deep. I love deep too.
All right. My mom is a go with the flow kind of person. I have some of those qualities with her. She doesn't like to disturb things. She doesn't like change or drama.
Yeah.
I mean, it was difficult for her when my father died. When he was 29, she was probably 24, I think.
He was 29?
Yeah.
When he died?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think he actually held on to my 6th birthday and then died on that day. So he was an electrician.
He died on your birthday?
But in a good way. Like he could have died earlier, but he wanted to hold on until my birthday.
He killed himself?
No, just cancer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
He was in the hospital struggling.
I was like, this is so intense. So it's because my dad killed himself. So I'm like, oh my God, we have things in common.
I didn't want to inject my father's death into when you were sharing with me.
Oh my God. No, that's okay.
Okay. But in general, my mother was very young and she had 2 kids.
Yeah.
She wasn't financially bad off because I think we didn't owe a mortgage on the house. My grandfather and my father had built it. in 1980, I think they won a $10,000 lottery, which
What?
was good for 1980. So she had cash flow sitting around to settle the accounts. And then Canada Pension has something called survivor benefits. So for any spouse or kids surviving the death. So there was cash flow for a while, but there wasn't enough cash flow, and she didn't have a job for a number of years and to maintain the house per se.
Yeah.
So at some point when your house starts falling apart,
Yeah.
the county starts forcing you to keep it up. And there were some weird things that happened, and we ended up losing the house. And
Wow.
my mother had to go back to working as a cashier, and she's been either a cashier or a manager at like Shoppers Drug Mart,
Yeah.
IGA, or
Right.
now she's at Canadian Tire as a manager.
Is she here in Montreal?
No, and still in Halifax.
Okay.
Yeah. My stepfather was not a traditional farmer. He has farm animals, but he doesn't grow crops.
Okay.
A lot of the income came from tourists going for horseback rides.
Nice.
And so I grew up riding horses until I was 14.
Cool.
And then left the farm in not the most positive
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
And then...
When? How old?
14.
Oh, you left at 14?
I didn't leave home.
Okay.
So we had a house.
I'm like, oh, what is this? Like 14-year-old living by himself.
We had a house, and he had the farm. His family unit was his parents and him and his son living on the farm. My stepbrother's mother was not in the picture, so it was one of those strange circumstances. But my mother and my grandmother and I lived in the house. My sister left home at 14 or 16, I think, to go live with her much older boyfriend.
Holy shit.
Yeah. But they lasted a long time. They had 2 kids, were
Oh my God.
married together for like 20 years, and then only in the last decade.
How much older?
She's 3 years older than me. But how much was he?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to say for her safety, that because I can't remember clearly, she was 16 and he was 27.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not too bad.
But it was close to the statutory age.
That's like a little bit of pedophilia, but that's... I guess that's fine.
I believe the term is hebophilia. I'm not sure.
Oh. But
commonly, yes.
But I mean, she was 16, so 2 years later was okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've been with a guy who was 21 year older than me.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I'm asking. I'm very interested in older people. Sorry.
Please tell me your interest in older people.
Yeah, I worked in the house for old people. No, I'm kidding. I was changing diapers. I was like, yeah.
What's your dying wish?
My dying wish is... Okay, no, I'm gonna stop that right now. Yeah. It's gonna be too weird. No, but I've always been, like, I was a child and I was interested in men in their, like, 40s.
Yeah.
I was, like, 5 years old.
You don't have...
That was really creepy for my mom.
I don't know if it translates or if there's the same equivalency in French. Do you know the baby girl and daddy... Well, I guess daddy dom would be too strong a term.
Oh, yeah, like daddy issues?
Well, ish. I don't know. Some women have a fetish for older men from the sense of them wanting to be... Not infantilized. I don't know. The terms are baby girl...
Yeah.
And daddy dom. That's
I definitely don't want to be infantilized.
Yeah.
Definitely not. Like, I hate that.
Yeah.
Because actually the boyfriend I had that was 21 years older than me would do that sometimes, and I was like, go the fuck away.
Was it infantilize or patronize?
I guess it was patronize, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. It was like basically telling me things, how to do things, and I was just like, man, I'm an adult and I do whatever the fuck I want. Just leave me alone.
I can tell you a story, but I have to give some other disclaimers to kind of make me feel less guilty. Okay. So I've dated people my own age.
Yeah.
In fact, my ex-wife.
Ex-wife. Okay, we're gonna come back to that.
Yeah. So we met when I was 21 and she was 24, I think. So she was a little bit older than me. Mm-hmm. And we were together for like 10 years. Still good friends. But we split over a decade ago. And then the first person I dated out of my marriage was a crush I had in high school, and we just reconnected after 15 years and was like, this is gonna work, and then it didn't. And then I've dated not in a serious, like we're going to get married sense. A number of people, although at least for me, it was always clear that they were not the ones for me. But there were 3 girls that were significantly younger. The youngest was about 20 years younger than me.
Okay.
So when I met her, it was an accident.
What do you mean? How do you meet by accident?
Because I went on a trip and then...
you ran into her and you were like, oops.
Well, yeah, it was accident. It was more accidental than usual. Because I had a schedule I was going on traveling in Iceland.
Right.
And I traveled north on the second week of my trip, intending to go up for like 5 days. I fell sick and had to come back to town. Had to find a random couch surf place to stay with. And then one particular day I went down to the laundry room to do my laundry and stumbled into someone else that lived into the building. And that was, that person. And then a whole crazy story comes after that. And I don't want to get into the whole story. But yeah. I happened to date someone that was 20 years younger than me, and she was into the fetishizing of older people and had the baby girl, like... Oh my God. Yeah, she had a collection of baby soothers and things.
Holy shit, that's weird.
Yeah, there was some weirdness to it.
She would, like, wear diapers and stuff?
No, not the full... She showed me videos of people that were into that. Yeah. She was trying to illustrate the whole spectrum to me.
Have you ever seen My Strange Addiction?
I don't think so.
It's a TV show about people that have strange addictions.
That was the clip she showed me, I think.
Actually. Well, that might be it, because there was a girl in there that was like sleeping in the thing for baby, and
crib.
Yeah, in a crib. I'm sorry, I don't have all the words.
No, if you don't mind me filling it.
No, you have to.
Okay.
And then she was like wearing diapers and like sucking her thumb and stuff, and I was like, what the hell? And then everybody was like, oh, you shouldn't do that. You won't find like a boyfriend and stuff. And I'm like, maybe she doesn't want to. She wants to be a baby, and babies don't have boyfriends. Like, I'm like, I don't think people understand what she's trying to do there. And anyway, I mean, as long as the person is happy and it doesn't like mess with other people's lives, why not? I'm like, go ahead, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah. When I met her sharing of the things that she was fetishizing into, I have a brief history in Toronto of working as a fire performer and assisting other fire performers.
Shit, okay.
And a whole troop of my friends worked for the fetish community.
Right.
So I had to go in with a non-biased kind of accept what people are into. You know, you're walking beside it, and if you're not into it, it's just what they're into and not what you're into. There were some things you see and you're just like, why? How? Yeah. But you keep it to yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And when she started sharing some of the things that she was into, we had already established a rapport where I'm to be understanding and accept what she says. And when she told me about these things, I was like, well, you know, it's not something I'm into, so I'm not going to participate. But, you know, I was aware that she had these interests. Yeah. And we never played into them. Okay. The only difference was that she pursued me heavily, and the age difference was the main factor.
Right. Yeah. And did you like that, or was it weird?
Everything was weird the entire way. Yeah. Like, it wasn't that it was a nice person, a beautiful person. Right. There was a
everything was weird.
What was weird was when she chased me back to Canada.
Oh my God. What the fuck?
I just said, you can come visit anytime, in the generic way that you do when you meet somebody.
Yeah, that means like, don't come visit me, but I'm being nice.
Yeah. And then suddenly they were like, I'm getting on the plane today. And I'm like,
oh my God.
And she doesn't know, but I was already starting to see somebody else.
Of course.
But that person that was sort of like unformed, and suddenly I had this couch surfer in my apartment that was heavily interested in me. It messed everything up. And so the girl I was seeing got chased away because I didn't know how to handle the situation.
Holy shit.
I didn't know what her intentions were when she was coming fully, and I didn't put clear boundaries, and I just was kind of confused by the whole circumstance. And it became a mess.
Oh my God, but you were interested in seeing her again then? Because you could have just not answered and not see her, I guess. Or just tell her like, why, and like, I don't care. I don't know.
It's difficult to explain. So when we met in Iceland, we'd only made out a little bit. Like, we hadn't gone any serious thing, and we'd never, you know, and we'd had some nice conversations.
And she flew here?
There is a backstory as to why she wants to leave Iceland, and it was just an avenue of escape for her.
Oh my God.
I do want to note
That's
that this is
kinda
our date
sad.
and we're talking quite a bit about. I didn't mean to focus in on this.
I don't care. I'm like, I'm so interested. I'm like, wow,
Then
that's
I'll keep talking if you want.
crazy.
Yeah.
I want to know everything. I'm like, this girl is insane. I want to have her on the podcast. No, I'm kidding. No, I don't want to.
No, I'm covering a huge...
I'm actually scared.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I'm like some... Like, there was a lot of...
No! People need to stop. Oh my God.
So there was some drama. It's fortunately baggage that I think I've processed out and healed from.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I think so.
I feel like most of the worst things that I've experienced became like the best thing that could happen, basically, because it made me. I know it sounds cheesy, but it made me wiser and stronger, and like, I don't know. Like, I was talking with a friend earlier this week about the teenagers that couldn't have their graduation. Ugh.
Oh, for this year?
Yeah. I speak really bad right now.
No, you sound good.
Yeah, this year because of
Sorry.
yeah, because of COVID.
Yeah.
And my friend was like, that sucks for them. It must be really hard for like young people to go through that and stuff. And I was like, yeah, it must be, but at the same time, it's really good for them because, I mean, when I was their age, the thing I had to go through was my dad's death.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I think being home is not that bad, actually. Like, it's hard. It's a hard thing that they have to go through, but it's just gonna make them see that life is hard and there's stuff in the way and you have to go through it. And that's it. Like, you better know it.
During the next pandemic,
soon.
They're going to be the best parents for their kids.
I mean, they will probably not go through another pandemic, but
they might go through a war.
They will go through a lot of stuff. So that's a good, like, preparation.
I agree.
So I don't know. That's just how I see it. And I think we should try to see bad things with a better point of view. Perspective. Exactly the word I was looking for. Yeah, exactly. So
okay. I get the benefits of watching my roommate's daughter. She's 15 and she has some advantages over people. She's being homeschooled now. Her family's able to afford that and give her a good opportunity. But she's telling me about all of her friends and what they're going through and how they're handling the COVID thing at school. And it's definitely a perspective.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of weird to like try to see life through teenagers' eyes because I feel like for me it's like I was a teenager like yesterday, but at the same time it's been so long, I feel like. So I just never thought I would feel like the old person that doesn't get teenagers anymore. And I'm there and I'm like, what the hell happened? Like, just like this weekend I was walking next to UDM, the university, and I was looking at like kids, oh my god, like students from the university, like putting their clothes on their balcony and stuff to dry, like make them dry, and I was like, oh my god, they're so young. And I was like, oh my god, I wouldn't want to be in university again. Like, it was another life, and it hasn't been so long, but it's already like so far behind.
Well, I mean, walking around your apartment, I can tell that there's like all the accents of sophistication that you develop yourself. You collect your favorite things and your style. And, and you have like cash flow and the ability to like, you know,
buy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the power.
Yeah. I was walking and I was like, I would not go back to being a poor teenager.
I would caution to not overindulge because sometimes you get too much stuff.
Yeah.
And you can be trapped by the boxes or by, you know, I have an apartment this big for a good price, but the next apartment I get, if I have to move to another city, might be much smaller. What do I throw away? And the stress.
Yeah.
Become attached.
I mean, yeah. I don't think I will ever move.
No, no.
I mean, I say that, but I say a lot of things and they never true. So
This is a good deal.
yeah, that's a really good deal. And I don't think I want to live anywhere else than Montreal anyway. So
It's a good location.
yeah, I don't see myself anywhere else.
Do you drive?
I do.
Okay.
I don't have a car though.
Okay. I didn't drive until I was about 26, and I got
What?
and then I got a car, and it changed everything. My concept of home is a lot different now. I can
Really?
I could move to many different places. Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to have a car because I like the planet, but I like to have my driving license just in case I need it.
If you had to pick between an electric car and the public transit, which would you pick?
Public transit.
Okay.
Yeah. Because electric car is not as as bad as gas car basically, as I looked into it. Yeah. Because it takes as much energy to get the thing.
Coal fire. Yeah.
So I'm like, meh, whatever.
I think they'll come up with like a solar car at some point.
But I mean, even the things to build the solar panels and stuff, they need to take it underground too, and it's still bad. I mean, it's just there's no good energy thing right now. There's nothing.
We're gonna keep talking about serious stuff, aren't we?
I'm sorry.
I'll dive into a brief story. So we had a counselor in Toronto who was in charge of the Toronto Transit Commission. His name was Adam Giambroni, I think. He ended up having to retire because of a cheating scandal or something, or some familial family issue. Him and his wife seemed to come through it, but the community had to
That's so weird.
punish him because they had opinions about his infidelity.
That's so stupid.
Yeah, stupid. But he was a really intelligent, well-spoken guy, and I managed to stumble across him in City Hall one day. I was pursuing something else, and somehow our conversation turned to his portfolio, and I was just trying to understand why Toronto was so obsessed with their streetcars, because I had lived in Edmonton briefly, and they had electric buses, and it turns out Toronto also had electric buses in the 60s. And what happens is these big corporations come in, they provide statistics that make it seem like streetcars can hold more people, they're more efficient. They offer them a sweet deal. We will take out your old infrastructure, we will put in the new infrastructure and give you all of these streetcars. The only thing we want is the maintenance contracts on these things for 25 years. So for votes, a lot of councillors go for these sort of decisions because you get this massive infrastructure development that looks like it's good for business, it creates jobs, etc. And the companies get to charge exorbitant prices on the maintenance.
Right.
And the reason that Ontario is probably going through the same thing now with windmill technology. There was a perfect set of farmland that could have been the optimal highest winds for the wind farm, but they decided to put it out in the water because maintenance in the water is much more expensive.
What the fuck?
Yeah, that's how corporations work.
That's so stupid.
The upfront price has to look good.
God. I want to cry.
Nobody looks at the future costs.
I hate people. Every time I talk about these things, my conclusion is I hate human beings. Seriously. We're so dumb. Just for money. Seriously? You're willing to do this just for money?
This is a dark spiral we can go down.
Oh my God. I would kill. I'm so mad.
I don't hate humans. I hate the illusion that we spin. We've prepared ourselves for disappointment at a young age about what we should aspire to, what we should think. And then when we see the reality, we are very disappointed and we become angry and resentful. But for the wealthy people that grow up greedy and... Sorry, that's a little bit too broad. But for some greedy rich people that have this empire who cares about the peons and it just makes sense to them. And it's predator prey concept, I guess.
Okay, so let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
I need more wine also.
I've got that.
I drink fast, I know.
I really like talking about serious things.
Me too.
And it gets in the way of romance all the time for me.
Really?
Yeah.
For me, it goes with romance. Good. I don't think it goes against it. I think it's...
I'm not good with small talk.
Me neither.
I find you incredibly attractive. I'd like to do things to make you feel smiley and warm. But if you want to keep talking serious talk...
small talk doesn't make me feel smiley. And I'm like, okay, the weather, cool.
But you like the handbag too?
Oh my God, no. I hate it. I don't even have one.
Oh, okay.
I don't do that.
You were scarred after that stealing incident or price switching.
Exactly. Yeah. No, I just don't like things that are for girls or for men. I hate it.
You mean the gender separation?
Yeah. Okay. So a purse is made for women. I won't have one. I can't.
Or you could advocate for men to start using purses.
Also, that would be okay. But I mean, right now, that's not what it is.
Yeah, it's scale and skies. Men have to have big messenger bags or backpacks.
Yeah.
Women have to have small little things for the makeups or the things that they think they
I mean,
need.
that's so stupid. That's so stupid. Like, I buy men's clothes because they're more efficient. My phone fits in my pocket.
Yes.
Now.
Yes, that design is very practical.
Like, women's pants are not made for putting anything in them.
Do you know how much shit I got for wearing cargo pants all the time with the pockets on the side?
Really?
I used to love those, and then people started telling me that it was sloppy fashion.
We're going back to I hate people.
Yeah.
That's already we're already back there.
Yeah. It used to be the only kind of pants that I liked wearing, and now I don't own a single pair.
But why? You should still have them. Why do you care about what people say?
It's a bit of the workplace professionalism. If I showed up to like a photo shoot at a corporation and I was wearing cargo pants, I mean, I can admit I see in retrospect how that was a bad idea because the people who have the money want to pay to the right people as they perceive it.
Yeah.
People.
Yeah. I don't like it.
Let's pivot.
Yep.
Okay.
Let's pivot.
Shopping for used clothing. It's one of my favorite things to do.
For used clothing?
Well, like Village de Valeurs or, vintage clothing.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to post a picture of me with all the clothes you brought. Because you arrived here with a shit ton of used clothing for me. And I was like, wow, this is the best day of my life.
Well, I mean, the last podcast, I think it was, or maybe you haven't posted the most recent one, but the one with Sam. You were talking about all the granny stuff. Or old lady stuff.
So you were ready.
Yeah, it's just I wanted to bring you something vintage. So.
You knew what my apartment looked like.
Vaguely. I didn't listen to all the detail. I just had a general sense. I'm like, I've got things for you. And usually when I go vintage shopping, I sometimes find like old lanterns that take candles in them or wick oil lamps and stuff like that. Things that are fancy. I'm not sure what eras they're from. If they're gothic and things like that, they can be kind of fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I like steampunk. That's the main thing.
I also love to go used clothes shopping. Like, I think that's actually what I miss the most from the normal world with things to do. I mean, at the first... like the last spring when there was the first lockdown, I was just looking forward to go back to Village des Valeurs. And then I did not go since like fucking, I don't know, January or something. Like I did not go since so long. I usually go like at least a few times a year. And now I'm just like, oh my God,
I lived for the 50% off days.
Oh my God.
I would keep myself away unless I was desperate for like a new pair of pants or something.
Yeah.
But when the 50% off days came, I would go.
Every time I go there, I spend for like at least $100 and I come back with like a shitload of stuff.
Yeah. I shop for what I need. And here's actually an idea of shame. So I will go in the women's section because once in a while I'll find a piece of clothing that is so creative and so unisex and so perfect that it's my favorite piece of clothing ever.
Yeah.
And I remember this one jacket specifically. I unfortunately lost it at Burning Man. It was on the back of my bike and I thought I had tied it securely and it's gone forever and I'm so sad. But I dig for these things and it could be like 5 different trips. But when I'm at the shop and I'm by myself without a woman, I can feel like eyes are boring into me because I'm in the women's section. And I wonder if people think I'm some kind of perverted kink. I know that people can, but it's still...
But you think too much about what people think.
Well, it was hardwired into me from a child. In rural Nova Scotia...
You need to work on that.
I definitely do. I force myself to go shopping alone. But when a female companion joins me, I start having a lot lighter, easier time, and we start showing the clothes. It's a lot more fun.
Yeah. I always go, like I told you, I always go in the men section.
Yeah.
And
but buy a different stigma.
I know, but that's stupid. Because people think I'm shopping for my boyfriend or something.
I see women in the men's section. I figure they're just going for a big comfy sweater or whatnot. You know.
I mean, who cares? What the hell? It's, for me, it's like very mean to, I don't know. I don't understand people.
Yeah. I mean, it's weird because the stigma from my side, I don't, like if I see a man wearing women's clothing, I have no problems. But there is something that is not logical that hits me at an instinctual level because of the early age indoctrination, that if I'm seen, even though I'm looking for a good circus costume, for example, or a nice piece for a friend that I might gift one day, the idea that there are 7 women around me scowling at me or something like that, perception in my head, it's a weird programming that I can't just let it go. It's just there.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, I've dealt with that for a long time too. I mean, not exactly the same, but I would always like think that people were judging me or like thinking things about me, but I mean, people don't fucking give a shit, I think. Like, and when you realize that, you just do your own thing. Like, people don't care about you. They really don't. They do their thing.
Yeah.
They don't even look at you probably, but you're like there thinking that everybody looks at you and everybody thinks about you. But that's because we're all like self-centered.
What we're afraid of, and I'm going to use a common term. I'm not a fan of the term Karen, but it evokes a very specific image, and that's the image I want to convey at the moment. That we're afraid of that type of individual, and male or female, that will suddenly inject themselves into your world and start like really harping at you about whatever it is that they think you're doing wrong, and you'll have to like bear the brunt of their judgment. Yeah. Even though they're almost like a rare, unlikely to happen kind of circumstance.
Yeah. And I mean, even if it happens, what's the big deal? I mean, I don't care. Judge me all you want. I do what I like. I buy stuff I like. I have a life that I enjoy. So if you want to judge me, you're bad. You're having bad emotions about me. That's your bad. Just keep your emotions, and I'm gonna keep being happy on my side.
So I'm gonna connect that to the fact that, or to the comment you made earlier about hating people. Yeah. One of the things I think about people is that we're all just computer programs, not like real computer programs. Yeah. But that we are basically a collection of things that were imprinted upon us, more nurture than nature. Yeah. And if you looked at a computer that did something that you didn't like, can you resent the computer for what it's been programmed to do? You know, like if you choose not to interact with that computer and you go take one that you like if you get an iPhone and you hate it, that's your own fault for buying an iPhone in a sense. Maybe a fault of the marketing, I don't know. But when you meet someone you don't like, you just choose not to interact with them. That's the best thing you can do, because they can't be as at fault. I've been encountering a lot of conversations lately on the internet about this whole like wear a mask, not wear a mask.
Oh my God.
Black Lives Matter, White Lives Matter, whatever, all lives matter.
There was, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah. And I've just observed people that I never thought would have had a different political opinion than me. And I'm like, I still remember why I like this person. Yeah. They're not evil. They're just either confused, or I don't think I'm confused. Of course I don't. But on their part, it's like, it's a teachable moment. But I watch other people I know who think the same as me punish people, label them, and try to teach them by attacking them.
Yeah, but that's the worst way to try to teach. I mean, the thing that I don't understand is, why do people can't be respectful? That's the only thing that I don't understand. It's so easy to be respectful. I mean, they don't think like you do, but that's okay. We all have different point of views on things. That's just how it is. So just like listen to the other person, know in your head that it's stupid and you don't agree if you want, but just be like, okay. And that's it. You don't need to be mean. Oh my God.
I recently had a match with somebody that was my own age, and there was a lot of excitement between the two of us. We had actually similar mutual friends to what you and I have, or at least the same social group. And what's funny is I matched with her. No, sorry. I swiped on her back in March, I think, or April. And I was super excited with what I saw. And it was just the Tinder profile, which doesn't have a lot of information. And the friend that was with me, I was like, do you know this person? I think they be in the same circles. And she's like, oh yeah, it's a good friend of mine, you know. And I was like, oh great, cool. Like, let her know that I found her on Tinder. She's like, no, you're gonna message her on Facebook right now. I'm like, what? No, that's creepy. That's not what you do.
That's very creepy.
And she really got on my case, and I'm
my God.
so I had to send a screenshot. I messaged the girl saying, look, this person has really said I had to message you, and so I'm doing it. I'm really sorry. It turns out that person was dating somebody else at the time, and their English isn't the strongest either. But they wrote back an upside down smiley face, and I don't know what that means in emoji language.
Does it mean something?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I couldn't say.
So they responded that way, and I just said, I'm glad I can make you smile upside down, stupid statement, and then just nothing after that. So I left it alone for many months, and I abandoned it completely. And then about 3 weeks ago, I'm on a road trip to Ontario to go do some stuff, and I suddenly get matched by this person. And we start chatting, and she seems really excited, and she didn't realize it was me.
So it was her?
It was her.
Wow.
And she asked to add me on Facebook, and then she saw that we had a previous conversation going, and she's like, oh, and then she got more excited.
Really?
So what happened was, she is 35, I think, and her boyfriend was 22 or 24.
Holy shit. Okay.
So when I messaged her the first time, she was dating this much younger guy, and she'd been holding on to this relationship for a long time. But she's like, I'm ready to have kids, and he's not.
Ew. Okay.
We sensed that we were incompatible in a number of ways. And she still has her heart set on this much younger, unavailable guy. And
that sounds healthy.
and the heart wants what the heart wants. That is before anything else.
Oh, I mean, okay. Yeah. I don't know. Does the heart want something? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway.
The heart beats and pumps blood and endorphins the way that it does.
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't have to clarify, I guess. But when you are engaging with a new relationship, you're trying to figure out whether your 5-year plan is the same. Mm-hmm. And if it's not, there might come a point where more friction starts building. Yeah. And then you've just wasted 5 to 7 years.
Well, I mean, I don't see it that way.
No, sorry. There is value in the connection that you have and the lessons that you've learned. I don't think it's a waste.
Yeah.
But take, for example, like we've had this conversation a little bit through text that I have chosen to do sperm donation to have kids, so I don't have to put that pressure on my relationships. So everything I'm saying now is about the struggles I was having the last few years, and I think it's about to shift. It already feels like it's shifting. But if I chose someone and filtered my choices on dating sites to be about having kids, it would come down to the specifics of, are you ready to have kids sooner or later, or we have to get to know each other first, and it keeps adding a couple years before you can, because if I did a 5-year relationship and then we found out we weren't going to have kids together, then there's the 1 or 2 years of being like single. I mean, you can start dating someone right away, but before you find a really meaningful person, it takes time sometimes. Yeah. And then that relationship might be amount of time before whether you decide if you're willing to commit the rest of your life together as kids. Yeah. Older people seem to match up and marry much faster. Mm-hmm. They either know what they want or they're more desperate to settle down.
I would say this second one.
Yeah. I watched somebody who I like very much, and it was about a polyamorous relationship. So a married couple I know, I've watched them with fascination as one of the key studies of how I understand polyamory. Mm-hmm. And the male I have a good connection with, and I watched him date this woman from, I guess she's from all over really, but she lived in Montreal when I met her. Mm-hmm. And they seemed like top of the world, happy and in love. The chemistry between them was like on the level of The Notebook. And I was like, well, how's this affecting his marriage? Like, I have to see whether the compersion and everything. Yeah. And it seemed great. And she had found another partner. They didn't seem to have the same like external chemistry. Mm-hmm. I don't know what their private chemistry was like. But, and I thought everything was going fantastic for all of them. And then I drove the one from Montreal to Toronto so she could move in with them. And it was going to be like a 4-person household, mm-hmm. perfectly poly. And I thought it was going to be great. 2 months later, I find out she's split. And then a year later, she's married to somebody else completely and is top of the world happy, saying the exact same thing she had said a year earlier about finding my soulmate and
I don't really believe in that. That exactly what you said just proves that it doesn't exist, because she's like, hey, I found my soulmate, and then 2 months later it's someone else. And I'm like, right.
I fall into the philosophy of believing you find someone whose weird fits with your own. What does love feel like to you?
I don't know. I can't say.
Okay.
It's just people that I enjoy spending time with, that I feel a connection with, and that I don't see myself living without.
Okay.
Basically. Like, if
everything sparks up in your brain when they're around?
I don't know. Not necessarily.
I have had two best friends. Well, I've had more best friends in my life, but like two iconic people that I go to with all of my phone calls. I could spend every day on the phone with these people. The first one, we had a falling out. We were together since we were kids, and we had a falling out when I was around 35. The childhood dynamic that we had formed was always he was the leader, I was the follower. And then he went away for like high school and college, and then we reconnected years later in Toronto. And I could not train him out of treating me like a follower. And I tolerated it most of the time. Like we had a mutual friendship connection, did things that we liked together. But in certain contexts, like playing games together or certain events, he would always take an authority role and somehow talk down to me. At some point, I had to cut him off. Like we had a big fight over him saying something that I considered to be unforgivable and just rude. And he didn't even want to apologize for it or talk about it. He's like, let's just forget it ever happened and continue on. I'm like, no, it happened. But
damn,
I cut him out of my life for a while. He's kind of back in conversation, but I'm only letting him in so much. But the second best friend, and this is all going to make sense in a minute. He was just someone that I admired. I envied in many ways. There were qualities he had that I wish I had. He taught me every skill I have about renovation. My father had passed away. My grandfather never taught me anything. So here I am buying a house at age 28, and he's teaching me how to do drywall, electrical, plumbing, everything. So he does fulfill some father figure type roles in my life.
Yeah.
But there was just, I wanted to be a man like him, I guess is the way to say it. And we also liked the same nerdy things, and we bonded on that.
Cool.
And after many years, we were sitting in a room together, and he looked at me, and he basically defined what friendship was with the words that came out of his mouth. He said to me, I would rather spend days doing nothing with you in the same room, just sitting here shooting the shit or whatever.
That's okay.
And then somebody else doing a really interesting activity that, I love to do. Because the quality of time and the satisfaction I feel being in your presence is much better than with anyone else.
Yeah. And
to me, that's what a best friend is.
Yeah.
And they come through for you. Like,
yeah.
My former best friend was supposed to be my best man at my wedding. He didn't bother flying to come be that. He chose someone else to be the one who ran his bachelor party. He did all these things where he kept showing me that I wasn't his best friend, even though he would say I was.
Yeah.
And this guy, the new best friend, kept stepping up, and he was the best man at my wedding and other things. And
your wedding that we did not talk about yet.
Please ask away. What would you like to know?
I don't know. You just said I got married too. Did I tell you?
No. No, I don't need to ask questions about your marriage. I still figure you were like so young, and I haven't figured out what I want yet. And
no, I was married.
Wow. How old?
I think I was 24.
How old was he?
8 years older, I think. So what about your marriage?
I think my marriage was pretty stereotypical. Well, no, maybe not. We both met in Toronto, but we were both from Nova Scotia. She was from Cape Breton. I was from Halifax. And I'm going to avoid certain parts of the story for her, respect for her. But we fell pretty quickly. We ended up moving in after like 7 or 8 months, but that was because her roommate abandoned her and she needed to figure out something she could afford. And I was pretty flexible. I was like, sure, let's just try it, see how it goes. I was already pretty smitten by her. But then we had a falling out early on about So I had, from high school to late college, had a number of sexual partners. I basically came out very young and virginal, and then suddenly learned how to wield sexual energy, I guess. I don't know. So I'd pretty much slept with about 10 people before I moved to Toronto and met her. She
At what age?
Between 18 and 21.
Oh shit. Okay.
Yeah. So over like 3 or 4 years, I just, whatever. She had been with one formal boyfriend and done some other stuff with another guy, but hadn't been very promiscuous at all. So when we met, we didn't talk about a lot of that stuff for a number of months. And then when it came up, we started talking about deal breakers and things that we should really try to settle and sort before we got more serious.
Yeah.
And her hard line was if she had been with somebody, if she was dating someone that had been with more than 5 people, the relationship would be over. Yeah. And I was like,
that's such a weird, like, demand.
Maybe because she's grown up in a very Catholic kind of household, and the idea.
My God, if like nobody would ever want to be with me, that would be so sad.
From my generation in rural neighborhoods, that would not be a terribly strange expectation to have, I don't think.
Are you serious?
I'm serious. Things have changed.
5 people.
5 people would be too many. You'd be too
5
slutty.
5 people is like what I can do in like almost a day. Like
things are very different.
Please, like what the hell?
And it's hard to convey to you how rational that seems back then. I felt a little slutty with what I had been doing.
I don't feel slutty at all.
No, I don't now.
Perfectly fine. I'm like, what the fuck?
Then I did. I mean, now my
I feel like they're very prude.
And yes, but the idea that prude was right.
Yeah.
Was the mindset.
I mean, there's no right and wrong.
Yeah.
But they're prude.
Yeah. I'm not here to assess whether she was, like, again, people are the programs that they were made.
Yeah.
I don't hold it against her. And when I said to her was, okay, well, I've been with more than 5 people. And I said, I guess we have to split. And I understood what was going to happen next. It was going to be sad about it. And she basically took a week of realizing our relationship was going to end. And she decided she just didn't want to know. So we left it as the undisclosed more than 5. But a few months later, when I was really ready to marry her, I was like, I want no secrets between us. And I told her how many it was. And that's when the misunderstanding happened. She says, you said you'd only been with 5. And I said, no, I said more than 5. And our relationship began to unravel in the early part. This is like in the first year or 2, right?
For that?
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
So what happened with her was she could not be intimate with me without envisioning me being with multiple other women.
Way.
Yeah.
And you wanted to still be with her? Like, I would have been turned off.
We broke up.
Yeah, I would have been like, go away. Like, you're so rude.
We basically had a lease together, and neither of us could suddenly find another place that we could afford. And we didn't know if we could heal it. And she became resentful because she felt trapped with me. She had just moved in with me. I was trying to marry her, but she suddenly felt like I was too slutty or something. I don't know.
Oh my God.
So we had a very sour relationship for many months. And there were other factors making it bad. And when I finally left and moved out, I left for like a month. And it was my former best friend and I got in a big fight. And that's the reason why I ended up going back, is she told me to come home because she wanted to protect me and take care of me or something. And we had some healing in that exchange. Like when she no longer felt stuck and she could reevaluate what her priorities were, she wanted me back. And it's the feeling of being, I think a lot of the times when things are really bad in a relationship, if you could back away and then choose to go back into it, you never feel like you were stuck in that relationship because you chose to go back in.
Yeah.
And we did really well for a number of years.
Yeah.
There were some down points, but we eventually got to a really good point, and that's when I truly proposed.
Yeah.
And then we ended up buying a house, getting 3 dogs. The reason we ended up with dogs is actually at one point when our relationship wasn't the greatest. When you're at a certain point in your relationship and you're thinking that the only way it could get better is if you have kids, it's a terrible decision.
The worst thing to do.
But so in this story, I'm going to pause and say there is a book everyone should read, no matter what relationship they're in. It's called Too Good to Leave, Too Bad to Stay. You don't have to endorse this, but I personally do.
Okay.
It's about something called relationship ambivalence, where if you're in this cycle of not sure whether you should propose, whether you should leave, you basically start gaslighting yourself. You stop trusting your instincts and you put off the decision until some big event happens or some sign that your partner's
Yeah.
wonderful or horrible or
Yeah.
you look for an excuse. And as you keep putting that decision off, you erode your own confidence and can never make a decision. So that happened to both of us for a number of things. I had told her that I thought our relationship would only benefit if we had kids, and she didn't want them. This is like this is about 15 years ago. And I told her that was probably a deal breaker and that we were probably going to end our relationship before the marriage happened. And a week later, she said she thought about it and she decided she wanted kids. She was just afraid of being a bad mother or something. I was skeptical. And then we went through everything and got married. And a week after we got married, she told me she didn't want kids. So we got 3 dogs.
Hell?
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. We got 3 dogs. We bought the house. We renovated it. And it was one night after we'd finished most of the renovations and we were there.
But then how do you feel about not having kids?
Oh, I mean, that's a whole other story because the years have gone by since then. But the reason that I realized that I should get out of the relationship, the marriage, was that the best we had ever been was in the first months of our relationship. Everything since then had been mediocre. And we were never going to get better. It wasn't
that sucks.
After 10 years, it's not going to suddenly some event wasn't going to show up.
That might have felt like a waste of time, kind of. I mean, it's not, but I mean...
Yeah. We had wasted a lot of time with indecision and not knowing ourselves.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. 5 years later, we were both much better people with a lot better perspective, much closer friends. We're closer friends now spiritually than we ever were before that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. We only have things to give to each other and nothing to take.
Yeah.
And during a relationship, we were both potentially the linchpin to a great disaster.
For me, it's not, I don't even know what love is. I can't explain. For me, it's just, do I want to spend time with that person? Yes or no? Then I do or not spend time with them. And then I just ask myself the question, like, do I want to spend time with that person? Yes. Do I want to have sex with that person? Yes or no? I mean, it's all different questions. Sometimes I want to spend time with someone. I don't want to have sex with them. So I do spend time with them and that's it. And sometimes I don't want to spend time with them and I just want to I don't fucking care. Like, I just do the things that I want to do.
Okay.
Basically.
Do you have a strong relationship with sex?
What do you mean?
Like, I know some people that are very asexual and sex has no place in their lives.
No. Yeah, I have a very strong relationship.
You get horny. I get it. Gotcha.
What about you?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
sorry.
I'm an overthinker. So when a lot of interpersonal communication gets all tangled up in reading between the lines or what things people are worried about for the future and stuff, sometimes it all just gets stripped away in the physical moment. You can just stop being complicated.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes like, it happens sometimes, like, I'm starting to, like, get into it with someone, and then my brain is, like, somewhere else, thinking about, like, oh, but I don't really know that person. Do I really want to do that? But then my body tells me, like, yes, you want it. Yes, you want it. But then my brain is like, I don't know. Oh. And then I'm just like, I'm just trying to tell my brain to shut up and just enjoy the moment. It's okay. You can just, like, do it. But then sometimes it just doesn't work. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I feel like sometimes I just feel like I'm not controlling myself. It's like something inside me making these decisions, and I cannot do anything. Like, I just have to let myself do this. It's just weird. It's like I'm two people.
Animal instincts or something?
I don't even know. It's like there's the me that makes the decisions, and then there's the me that lives and has to deal with the decisions. It's kind of how I feel. It's weird.
I don't want to have awkward experiences. I've had those, and I don't want to repeat them.
I love it.
No, I mean, like, painfully awkward.
Well, painfully awkward is good for comedy.
In terms of conversation?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I was talking about the not...
I see.
I've had some women that can't take no for an answer.
Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I know what you mean. Okay, that's terrible.
Yeah. And I didn't have clear boundaries back then, so
Oh, that's even worse.
I wouldn't call it.
Oh,
I'd call it more harassment than sexual assault.
Yeah.
Because
but still,
yeah,
not nice.
yeah.
Right.
Back to a dark hole.
That's okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so I remember the one so yeah, of these 3 I can think of short-term relationships, 2 were on dating apps. One was just I met somebody, they were not looking to settle down, but they were okay dating me for the time. And same for me. I really liked them, but I didn't know what I wanted and whether it would be compatible. Just dating with an end date unknown in the future, a month or 2, provided such a simplicity of sexual and quality time together. Going out for a cafe wasn't like is this the kind of date we're always going to go on?
Yeah.
Or whatever, like questions. Yeah. It was just you were living in the moment and you were enjoying the moment.
Yeah.
Other relationships, I can remember the early days, the first sexual encounters being very intense. And then after that, the trying to figure out how the pieces fit together got in the way of the quality of the relationship.
Yeah. I feel like sex is always kind of messing everything up. I don't know. That's how I feel. I don't know. I mean, I love it, but sometimes I feel like it's like relationships are one thing and sex is a complete different thing. And sometimes I feel like both don't really go together. Yeah. So sometimes I'm trying to like have relationships and have sex with people I'm not going to see again.
When I was young, I'd heard about parents that had separate beds, either in the same bedroom. Yeah. And I never understood it. It seemed like the way I was wired when I was young is that parents sleep in the bed together. Of course, my father left at a young age, so I never had to understand anything different. But I began to realize there are things like sleep apnea and snoring, or people getting up at different work schedules. Yeah. And, they didn't want to. We didn't have the memory foam mattresses back then. Yeah. But even now, some people benefit from having their own bedrooms or separate apartments and relationships.
Yeah, definitely.
But when you decide what a relationship is and what you want from your partner, obligation-wise, the rough stuff, not just the pleasure stuff, because we can always find the pleasure stuff. Yeah. But when you figure out who's going to be your power of attorney, who you're going to leave your money to, whether you're going to have kids or not, whether or not you're going to buy a house together. Yeah. Like if you want to spend $30,000 on a really fancy motorcycle, whether your household can bear that cost, whether you have that power to make that decision on your own, that stuff, it's complex. It's not easy. It's always stressful.
I mean, I would never be in a relationship where I can't do whatever the fuck I want, whenever the fuck I want. So if I want a $30,000 motorcycle, I'll buy it. I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks.
Now we're talking about your bank account, the money you've made. Yes. So you're about keeping bank accounts separate, right?
I will always have my own bank account. I will never share any money with anyone in my whole life.
So you're in a house. Okay, so first off, I know from your profile that you don't want kids, right?
Hopefully I will never have kids.
Okay. So that puts you in a situation where one person does not have to take care of the other person economically while they're going through a shift of income, right? Yeah. And your career advancement is paused. So that old paradigm of one person having to suddenly take over the financial, maybe not the financial decisions, but the financial providing, changed the expectations of responsibility, right? In yours, it's much more clean cut and simple, I think. It probably will work out to be that way. People are themselves, they have their own things, and that's it. Yeah. Do you think you'll ever co-share a property? Will you buy property with someone?
I mean, I'm not ready to buy anything right now anyway, but of course, when I'm a very famous comedian, which I don't know if it's going to happen, but whatever.
I have no knowledge of your comedy acts, but just the few images I've seen in the persona, I see you being on Saturday Night Live.
Ooh.
I don't know your...
Listen to that, people.
It just, the character that I see is very similar to one of the performers that are on there now. I forget her name, but yeah. You seem very goofy.
I am. Basically, that's my first quality. But we've been talking for like a long time now, so I think I have enough stuff recorded.
Okay.
That's
if you
good.
Want to do, yeah.
Unless you wanted to say something interesting before we go. I don't know.
No, I would say something random, but it wouldn't be profound.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's okay. We've talked about a lot of profound stuff, so I think we've had enough.
Okay.
But thanks for coming. It was nice.
Well, thank you. This is a great conversation.
Cool. Let's keep having it outside of the studio.
Okay.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Ma date avec Andrew. Oh, I need to speak English. My date with Andrew was very, very nice. I mean, we had a lot in common. He was really straightforward and honest about everything. It was so easy to talk with him. Like, I usually do an hour on this podcast, but like after an hour and a half, I was like, oh shit, we recorded way too much. So I might have to do some editing. So yeah, it was really cool, and I will see him again. I actually already plan on seeing him again this week. So we'll see how it goes. For more details about the date, you can listen to Talk of Shame on my Patreon. Thank you guys. See you next week.